Hello, this is Wmpyr, here to talk to you guys today about the Bas Rutten O2 trainer. First of all, let me give a brief intro on Bas Rutten, or at least what he meant to me. I never met the guy, never trained with anyone really directly that was like his student or something like that. I know at least one person that went to a seminar with Bas Rutten in it, and I mean he said the guy was like the Energizer Bunny. That Bas Rutten would just go on and on. He would party all night, and then the next day he would be doing a seminar like nothing, like like no problem at all. So it just said the guy was like wild and incredible like that. So for me, where I remember seeing Bas Rutten was I started watching UFC since day one. My friend ordered it on pay-per-view, and I was very skeptical that it was going to be real, but of course it turned out to be real and everything, and we all got hooked. And then shortly after, I went to college, and in the college, um, my friends and I started a grappling club there on campus, and just because at the time it's not like today where you see a jiu-jitsu school every corner, um, or you see a MMA school, MMA gym in every city. It just wasn't like that back then. I mean, it was extremely rare. And he we started our own, and he was super into grappling. He was very talented at it. He had the mind for it, and he ordered also the Pancrase pay-per-views because following the UFC pay-per-views, they started doing the Pancrase pay-per-views, and yeah, of course, it was awesome to watch that stuff. So he ordered that. We watched it together. We studied it together, and of course, one of the standouts in the Pancrase organization was none other than Bas Rutten, who was the Pancrase multiple-time champion. And then he eventually, it was just a matter of time for him to come over to the UFC, became champion in the UFC. I remember the Kevin Randleman fight that he had. Um, I remember I was in Florida at the time, and it was on TV. I wanted to watch it bad, but I had to go somewhere. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss this fight. I really want to see it. So I didn't get to. But when I came back, the people that saw it, they told me about it, and they said, yeah, Bas Rutten won, but it was an incredibly tough fight. And yeah, and then when I did get to see it, it was a crazy fight. And then I saw Bas Rutten's interview about that fight, because Kevin Randleman was my favorite wrestler at the time. For MMA fighters, Kevin Randleman was I was just like, man, this guy's awesome. And I saw a documentary with him, and it just made me like him even more. It was to me the best MMA documentary. I know a lot of people say Smashing Machine. I'm not saying that that's not a good one, and Choke is another very popular one. But this one, Rites of Passage, is super rare and hard to find. But to me, that was the best. To this day, I would argue that's the best MMA documentary that I've ever seen. And yeah, I did see the one with Conor McGregor and all that. They're all good, but that one was to this day my favorite. So anyway, Bas Rutten. My whole point with giving you an intro, a quick intro about him, is that yes, he was a Pancrase champion, not just a competitor, professional athlete, professional fighter, professional competitor. He was also multiple time Pancrase champion and UFC champion. So that right there, what my point is, he was a pro athlete at the highest levels of what he did of his sport, so he understands what it takes, to compete at that level. He understands how to make the body, uh, be able to function at that level. So that's really my point in that. And anyway, so this thing right here, you could see that you put it on the mouth, and I know one of the biggest misconceptions is people go, oh yeah, that's altitude training. It's not altitude training. Okay, altitude training is you have to be in that altitude, and from my understanding, it takes a while for your body to adjust to it, and then it takes a while, I think, for your body to not just adjust to it, but to where it starts having an effect. From my understanding, where you can where you can reap the benefits. So altitude training, from my understanding, is kind of tricky. Okay, this has nothing to do with altitude. Obviously, it has nothing to do with altitude because you're not in a high place where it's going to affect your blood levels. No. What this does is Bas Rutten has explained this is exercise for your lungs. It's like lifting weights, but for your lungs. You're making your lungs work harder, just like you're making your biceps work harder when you're lifting weights, and therefore your biceps over time become stronger. So the same thing, you're viewing the lungs as a muscle, and you're putting strain on it, and it becomes stronger. Now, I've had chronic asthma all my life. Like, I was born with it. And I do remember, man, we tried everything. My family tried everything, from acupuncture to Chinese herbal medicine to modern day. Obviously, I had to use the asthma spray, and then it got to the point where I became like immune to that. Like that wouldn't work on me anymore because I used it so much. You're supposed to use that, like, I think the doctor said, if I remember correctly, like 3 times a day max. Well, I was using it like 20 times a day. Okay, because even the smallest thing would cause an asthma attack. I was hypersensitive, so it was chronic asthma, really, really bad. I've been rushed to the hospital many times, many times, to the point where my family, at the time, my dad was working a pretty good job. Okay, he was getting paid pretty well in Tokyo at the time. We almost went bankrupt because I was being rushed to the hospital like every night. That costs a lot of money. My mom knew it was going to happen. An ambulance would cost even more money, so she would just drive me there to the hospital. And this is like the asthma attacks. The worst would happen like after midnight. So we're talking like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm being rushed to the hospital. So I missed so much schooling at one point. At its worst time, I missed so much schooling. We're talking about like junior high, that they weren't sure that I was going to be able to graduate to the next grade because I had missed so much class because of this. And like I said, being in the hospital so much, it almost bankrupted my family. I had a younger sister, and it was just too much for my mom to handle because I was like taking care of like 5 kids. You know what I mean? Because I was basically had this chronic disability, so they had to send my sister over to my dad's sister, who's my aunt, and they asked my aunt to take care of my sister. That's how bad it was over in England. So my sister misunderstood that and thought that she wasn't loved as much by my parents, but no, it wasn't that. They had their hands full with me. So just trying to explain to you guys how bad it was. In my whole entire life, I've never met anyone with worse asthma than myself. Just saying, okay? I'm sure they're out there, but I've never met. And like I said, we tried everything from space age magnets to freaking needles to the bottle with the fire, the glass bottle thing that you put on the back. I did that. I also did the actual acupuncture needles, and then they put fire on the end. So all of that, everything you can think of, right? Tried it. Um, Nothing worked. Nothing worked. And then I had heard uh, about people that played musical instruments, that would help with the lungs. And it just, sadly, I did not have an ounce of musical talent in me. It just happened so that was just something that we weren't going to do. But if I had done that, I can really see the similarity here, with doing, if I had played like a trumpet or something like that. I think that would have really helped. But swimming was one of the things that I could do and I liked. So they put me on swimming, and that probably helped me out a lot. Probably helped me the most out of everything. But still, even though it helped me, I had chronic asthma. And what it did do was the swimming made my body strong enough to where I could actually start doing a little bit of sports. A little bit, tiny bit, okay? I wasn't good at it. Of course, why would I be? Because I'm coming from zero to, okay, I'm going to be on the tennis team. And I start playing tennis. But compared to someone who's been, playing around outside all their childhood life, I'm not going to be as good as them. Of course not. And I never was. The swimming did help me get strong enough to where I could do tennis, and more importantly, I could do martial arts, because martial arts was something that changed my life, right? But anyway, the chronic asthma still stayed, even though I could do martial arts, I could play tennis, I could do swimming, but still chronic asthma constantly, okay? That did not change. Here we go. So this is 2016. Okay, this is way after college. How old am I at this time? 2016. I'm like 30 something. Anyway, at this age, right, I was like, I need to do something, because I basically accepted asthma is going to be part of my life forever. Like it was just, I'd work out, and of course, exercise-induced asthma, I would get asthma. But that was okay, because why? I knew by this time, because I had already been doing fully martial arts, everything, all that kind of, fully committed to martial arts. And to this day, fully committed to, since I started in 1990. Which was junior high school for me. But anyway, by this time, I understood that if I am going to get an asthma attack, regardless, right, whether I work out or not work out, I'm going to get an asthma attack for sure. I knew that throughout the week. I got it like multiple times a week. That was no question. You are going to get it, right? So if I'm going to get it, I'd rather get it with me strong than me weak. So I worked out, because if I work out, then I'm stronger, and I could face the asthma attack better. If I'm weak and I get the asthma attack, it really took me out. So, or I never got super weak, but I could imagine I'd end up in the hospital or I could die. So I was like, I'm gonna stay strong, and I'm gonna keep working out, and I just never stopped. And for that reason, because in a way the asthma was a double-edged sword, it was good and bad, I never stopped working out since I started. So in 1990, I started martial arts, and since then, there's never been a day off for me, because, because of this logic. I'm too busy learning martial arts. B, I'm too busy, making myself as strong as I can for the asthma attack that I knew was coming, right? But during this time, 2016, this is April, is when I first tried the Bas Rutten O2 trainer. So right before that, the December of 2015, I must have visited family. And when I did, I had an asthma attack bad, like real bad. Bad enough that I went to go visit them in a different city. So we drove all the way, went to go visit them, and I barely saw them, because I had to be in bed most of the time, right? And that's when I knew, like, man, it's just getting worse. Even though I'm working out, I've kept working out all my adult life, this is only getting worse. I need to do something. And I'm only getting older. So I was like, I really need to do something, because what am I going to do in my 40s, my 50s, my 60s, and then 70s? I'll probably die from asthma. So I need to do something about it. So I got real desperate, and I saw Bas Rutten's O2 trainer, and I thought, you know what, I'll give this a try. So that was 2016. It changed my life. Bas Rutten changed my life. So like I said, I've never met the guy. You know, this is not endorsed by him or anything. Um, as someone who has chronic asthma all my life, if I ever had the chance to meet him in person, you know, I'm gonna thank the guy with all my heart. Seriously, seriously, because this was a game changer. To this day, I use it. To this day, um, I would have to say 90% gone, even through COVID. And I'm not even sure. At one point, I think I had COVID, and it's messed me up. Yes, but yeah, I would, to this day, I would have to say 90% gone. You know, and when stress levels are high, like during COVID times and whatever, just when my stress level's super high, no coincidence that my asthma gets worse, right? And so there's been ups and downs, but I'd still have to say that using this, and I don't even follow the way Bas Rutten says to use it. he, I've always been like kind of like do things your way, your own way kind of guy anyway. So I understand what he says. You know, he says do 30 reps. You know, seated position. This I do it, as you can see in the small photos right here. Is I do it while I'm working out. You know, because at the end of the day, I still, this is for martial arts. This is for self defense. So you know, I want to be able to function. You know, fight myself out of a bad situation, fight my way out of a bad situation, and still be able to function. You know, not go, you know, and have a problem. So at the end of the day, I'm no athlete. I never got to the professional athlete level or even amateur level. But you know, I am a lifelong martial arts person. So I've cross trained in MMA, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, a tiny bit of savate, a tiny bit of boxing, and a tiny bit of wrestling, tiny bit of sambo, you know. But you know, pretty much combat sports wise, I got to experience a lot of the main ones. Super tiny bit of judo, you know, just stuff like that. But and then you guys know I do the Escrima. Escrima stuff is my main, the stick fighting, knife fighting stuff. But anyway, something I gotta say that I've never said before in any of these videos is that when like I said, this changed my life. This, you know, I'm saying this like I'm just saying this to you guys, but you guys have no idea when you're living with chronic asthma. I remember I remember in grade school. Okay, in grade school, we're playing outside between classes, right? In between classes, you get to go outside, you get to play kickball or whatever. I'm playing outside. I was like, you know, the safe thing for me to do is to stay in the classroom. But you know, it's kind of like prison, right? You want to go outside, feel the sunshine. You want to play with everybody else, so you go outside. I knew it was a risk. I did that, played kickball or whatever, and then the bell rings. Everybody goes inside. They're ready. The class is going to start. I have an asthma attack, right? And I don't know if I used the spray and it didn't work, or I had forgotten the spray. It could have been that I just forgot the spray that day. And I'm like, you know, and then I get the asthma attack, and I'm in the middle of the courtyard. It's completely empty now. It was filled with kids. Now it's completely empty. Everyone's inside class, inside the school. They're in class, and I'm just trying to get back. And every step I take is like slow motion. It feels like a mile away just to go from the courtyard to the school. Felt like a mile away, and when I finally get there, I'm like, okay, now I got to go up the stairs. There's no elevator. I got to climb up the stairs. It was like 3 sets. I could not stand, so I crawled up the thing on all fours. I crawled up the stairs. Okay. And I'm like, dude, you can do it. You can do it. You know, you can make this. I'm a kid, right? And I'm going up, and on the finally go up the 3rd stair, And then there's my classroom. I'm looking up, I'm literally on all fours, just crawling all the way to the classroom. And then there's the door, and it's the Japanese door, so it slides, right? So I slide it. It's a good thing that it was a sliding door, because if it was like other countries, where you pull it open, I don't know if I could have. So I slid it open, and I see the girl that I have a crush on. She looks at me and she screams at the teacher like, "Oh my God!" Like she knew something was wrong. And that was the last thing I heard, and I fell down and it blacked out completely. So that's the kind of I got memories like that, like filled with memories like that. That's just one, you know, one memorable one, but I mean, plenty of situations like that. Um, Game changer, changed my life. It's huge. It's so huge, and it's so good. All of a sudden, I remember when I started doing this O2 trainer training. I remember going outside, running, and for the first time I was okay. So this is after I had been using it for a while. Normally I run and then I'm going to get an asthma attack, and I stay up to like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning just dealing with the asthma, and that's normal. And then the next day I wake up with almost little to no sleep and just continue my life. That's just the way it was. And now it's like I ran, and I just get tired. Like I'm not wheezing. There's no asthma. I'm just like, what? Is this what normal people feel? This is nothing. Like if this is what happens, then yeah, I could keep going. Like maybe not at this moment because I'm worn out, but I mean this is nothing. I was like, this is crazy. I all I could think of is how much I want to thank Bas Rutten for inventing this thing. All right, and that's why I'm making this video. This is my way of saying thank you to the guy. And more importantly than that, is to tell other people who have asthma or who've suffered with some kind of asthma or bronchitis or any kind of breathing problems. If this could help me, it might be able to help you. Okay. The only thing is, for me, I understood working out. So by the time I met this device, I was already, I wouldn't say a working out aholic, but compared to 90%, most people that I've met in throughout my martial arts journey, a lot of those people, my classmates, a lot of those people quit. No matter what style it is, they quit. They don't. I'm one of the few that has done it the whole life. Okay, so I understand the training part, and the dedication. And I'm not saying I'm amazing at it or I'm at a CrossFit level or anything like that, but I'm saying I understand dedication, discipline, at least to a certain extent. So that's the only thing. You need that. You need that because like with anything that's worthwhile, you have to stick with it. You have to. This isn't like a miracle cure. You do have to put in the time. But compared to, like I said, what I've been through, it's seriously, this is like the best word I could describe this is it's a miracle. It is a miracle. Like I said, I suffered multiple times a week, and that's in my physical prime. Multiple times a week asthma, and that was just normal. Staying up till wee hours in the morning is normal. Just wheezing it, and the reason why I was wheezing it and taking it instead of using the spray is because I knew the spray had tremendously ill side effects. It could melt your bones. It could mess up your immune system. It could really, really, really hurt you. Man, it melt your bones. Think about that. Your bones produce, the red blood cells that you need, and it melts that. I mean, so yeah. I mean, the asthma spray. I've seen it in when I was taking anatomy class. Was it anatomy class in the lab? We dissected a frog, which I didn't want to do, but we dissected a frog, and in it, the experiment was to put in acetylcholine onto the heart. So we took out the heart rapidly. You pith the frog, and then you take it, you surgically remove, surgically, it sounds cool, but you remove the heart, and then you put droplets of acetylcholine, which I believe is the same active ingredient. This is just what I remember. It's been so many years, so hopefully I'm saying this right, but you put droplets of that onto the heart, and you see what it does to the heart. Well, the heart beats rapidly, like it's about to explode. It just starts to beat super quick. That's what I'm doing to myself, and horrible, horrible, horrible. I could just imagine the side effects, and there's heart disease that runs in my family as it is, and then me doing that is not going to help. So I swear I've cheated death, probably a lot more than I realized, but I feel like there was one for sure. I was supposed to have a heart attack. And is that from my DNA? Yes. Is that from using asthma medication? I believe 100% yes, both of those. Okay. Just my opinion. I'm not a professional, doctor or scientist or anything, but just saying. But so I should have had a heart attack this was 2016, 2022, 21? No, yeah, maybe 2020, around that time. Yeah, I was supposed to have a heart attack and die. It's funny because around that time, my dad also had heart problems, and he was rushed to the hospital right around the same time that I did. So, but anyway, this freaky stuff going on. So the important part is for me to pass this message on to other people that I really think that it can help you. You're going to have to put in the work, but this is the most natural, best way, which is a win-win situation. It's not the easiest way. It's the best way. It's natural. You can't beat the natural way. There's no shortcuts. You have to do the work. But, oh my goodness. Like I said, 90% asthma free for someone who had it that bad as myself, that is incredible. Miracle. It's a miracle. So if you know anyone, not just for people who want to improve their athletic performance, and they're born as an athlete. They're born stronger and faster and more agile than everybody else, the average person. Yes, I believe this will help those people out too, but I'm talking about people that, you're suffering from asthma. Okay, got to try this. And you don't have to do it like me. Bas Rutten said, from a seated position, just do the breathing from a seated position. And the only movement you do is raising up and raising down. That's it. And by raising, I mean just your torso. You're not standing up or anything. You remain seated. So bending over forwards and then sitting back upright. That's the only movement as you're doing this breathing exercise. That's what he recommends. Come on, you can do that. Most people should have no problem being able to do that. And if that's going to help you doing 30 reps every day, if that's going to help you, it's worth it. It's super, like I said, game changer, miracle. Okay. Now the thing is, and I got to address this too. The weird thing is, I've told this to several people that I thought were important. Like one was a teacher. The other person was basically going to be a future scientist. And I asked her, I said, wow, what are you, what are you working on? And she basically said, ultimately, she wants to work on like cure for asthma, right? I said, dude, you got to look into this. Look into this thing. It was a game changer for me. My asthma is horrible, blah, 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 but she has asthma too. I told her. And then there was at least one more person. Oh, yeah. Another person who was I've known for a very, very long time. We didn't stay in touch, but I've known this person since I was a kid. So these are at least three people. And like I said, the first one was a teacher. I know this teacher could, me influence a lot of, because she sees tons and tons of people every year. So anyway, I told these three people, and they were almost defensive about it. It's like they couldn't be happy for me. I think the normal reaction is, "Are you serious? That helped you out? Wow, I'm really happy for you. I'm glad, because it's chronic. I was suffering from a major disease. You know, it's chronic to the point where it affects my life. It affects the person I'm with, my family, friends and family. It affects them too, because I can't just be normal. I'm still definitely not normal in that sense that you're not going to see me in a bar. You're not going to see me in a place where they allow smoking and stuff. You're not, because that's gonna. Why would I do that to myself? I'm already, it's. And if I did go to a place like that, it's going to affect me. But instantly, I'm going to start wheezing, and yeah, that night I will be wheezing. And why would I do that? I understand all the work it takes for me to be asthma free, and then in an instant, just by going to a place like that and hanging out there for 30 minutes to an hour, I'm screwing myself bad, like real bad. Why would I do that? It's just. So anyway, I tell these people that, and instead of being happy for me, I met with, like, it was almost like they didn't want to hear it. It's like, this cannot exist. No, you cannot be cured. No one can be cured of this. We all suffer from asthma together. Therefore, we're cool. Oh, you're cured all of a sudden? Then you're not part of the group. Get out of here, kind of thing. That was kind of the attitude that all of a sudden I was met with. Denial. And I'm here like sharing. I'm sharing. It's almost like in a zombie apocalypse, and I found like a warehouse filled with food, and I said, "Hey, come on in, we're all going to be okay." And no, these people, which, I'm sorry. Look, I'm not going to judge them. I'm not going to judge their entire personality, but I'm saying those reactions were not cool. So I will judge that action, that particular action they gave to me. It's an insult to my face, and I don't understand it, and I think it's sad. So I'm just saying, some of you people out there, look, you have the right to be skeptic or critical or whatever, and that's fine. That's fine. But some of those people that they just can't be happy for you. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you, but they do exist. So I do want to get this message out there. So it's really weird. That's like a weird insecure control thing or something. I don't know what's wrong with that, but anyway, that's their loss. I presented, and I doubt that they're using this, behind my back or something. Not that I would care or anything, but I doubt that they're using this. They should, because they would be like me. They'd probably be better than me, because I doubt that any of those three, their asthma is worse than mine. So they would be 100% cured, not 90%. They would be completely cured, and it probably fixed their other like allergy problems or other stuff. It would improve their health, but that's their loss. That's their loss. Anyway, just I had to admit, I don't mean to sound like a bitter jerk or something, but it's weird that even exists. But I had to bring that up. Okay. So anyway, yeah. If you know someone that you feel like can benefit from this, tell them to give it a try, really. And I would just start with that, and tell them to stick with it. It was a game changer for me. It was caused a miracle, and to this day I do it. I do it to this day. I wouldn't say every night. I would say I aim for 5 times a week. I would do this, and it really doesn't take long. My workout is probably 15 minutes or less. That when I put this on, Yeah. I try to go for longer on a good day, but I always think about the least. Always think about the minimum. Everyone likes to think about the maximum when they work out. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this 3 times a week. I'm gonna hit the gym. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna change my life, and I'm gonna look great. And this, they're always thinking about the max. But then real life sets in, and you get busy, you get unmotivated, you get a little sick. All these things happen in real life, right? So you have to think about what is the minimum that you're willing to do, and then never, ever, ever break that minimum, no matter what. Okay, so I aim for, which there's nothing wrong with aiming for something, which is 5 times a week. My minimum is once a week, and that's easy. I don't think I've ever broken that. That's been really, really easy to keep. So in reality, I'm probably doing like 2, 3 times a week. Yeah, and at the lowest. Okay, at the lowest is probably two times a week, but yeah, most of the time, yeah. So in between, I aim for 5 times a week. Maybe 6 times a week I'm able to do. 7 times is pretty hard. 7 times is pretty hard. Not that I'm working really hard. It's just you got stuff in your life. You got stuff going on, so it makes it hard for me to do all 7 days. But anyway, I'm digressing. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing. Thank you, Bas Rutten, and take care, folks.